Communication comes in many forms. One of these forms is your very first impression. The way you act, the way you look, the way you smell. All of these things form the first impression. It only takes 7 seconds for the average person to form a first impression according to Forbes magazine. These 7 seconds can be detrimental in the way a person does business for the rest of their career. One of the biggest things to remember about your first impression is that the first impression is the last impression. It's a one-chance shot. You don't get a second go at another first impression. As part of this, I will be giving you 15 seconds each to look at multiple photos of people and make a first impression. The first person is Bruce. Just look at the pictures and make your first impression. The next person we have is Sarah. Our next person is George. And our final person is James. You have now met Bruce, Sarah, George, and James. What are your first impression? Do you think that's something you're going to be able to change? Studies show, according to ABC News, that first impressions really are the most important impression that somebody can place on another person. The feelings and opinions formed within the first few minutes after meeting someone plays a determining role in the course of that relationship. Whether it be work, friendship, love, hate, most of these determinations are made within just the first few minutes, if not seconds, after meeting somebody. With that being said, I think it's time for us to go back and meet Bruce once again. As you look at Bruce's picture, you'll see the tattooed arms, the hauling ass t-shirt, bald head, cut off sleeves, blue jeans. Based on that, I've asked you to make your first impression. Let's see if that impression is correct. Well, Bruce's real name is Dave, Dr. Dave. He's a medical doctor with a private general medicine practice in New York City. He has full sleeve tattoos. If you look closely at the tattoos, you could actually see that they were medical tattoos. Dr. Dave is part of a motorcycle club of health professionals in the New York area. As we look at Sarah again, we'll see the full sleeve tattoos, the bushy hair, the tattoo style t-shirt, blue jeans. Did you guys make a first impression on her? Well, let's see if you're right on that one. Meet Sarah. Actual name is Marissa. She's the co-founder and editor of Needle.com. She's a prominent New York attorney and a writer. And what was your first impression on George? With his unkempt hair, yellow teeth, dirty clothes, what do you think of him? George is actually Ted Williams. In 2011, Ted was homeless when a news reporter happened to come upon him holding a sign that said, "Man with a Golden Voice." After speaking with him and putting his video on YouTube, Ted became an instant internet sensation. He's now had job offers and has done some voiceover for cartoons and other shows.
Hey, I'm going to make you work for your dollar. Say something with that great radio voice.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. And we'll be back with more right after these words.
So now we're back to James. Did you have a first impression of James? Was it negative? In my opinion, and my first impression of James was not negative, even though he is showing a tattoo. His job, his stature, the way he looks, and the way he is perceived is actually of a very strong male police officer. I wanted to add this in here to show that just because a tattoo is on somebody, it does not make them any less of a person. But instead, it is based on your job, the people you're surrounded, and how you carry yourself that things can be perceived. So as we see, though very important, the first impression is not always the correct impression. Sometimes as a people, we look too much at the physical aspect and don't ever get to know the inside person. Sometimes, in the example of the doctor, you can immediately look at the tattoos. You may walk away from this man, not even realizing what he actually has to offer. It's important for us as a people to get over that aspect and not just judge people on their first impression. But at the same time, it is important for us as business people to always act, dress, and behave in such a way that we are always giving off a positive first impression. Customers can be lost, jobs can be lost, friendships can be never found, all based on a first impression.